Chelsea's resurgent run continued on Monday with the Blues taking on Burnley at Turf Moor and winning the game 4-1. But how and why did we beat the Clarets? Let's dive in. Lads, lasses and the rest of the masses, welcome back to the channel. I'm Mono from Mono CFC and this is my post-match tactical breakdown for Chelsea versus Burnley. Before we start the video, this is your final reminder that I'll be doing a Q&A in an upcoming video to celebrate 15,000 subscribers. I've already got a decent amount of good questions already so far from you guys, but if you want to get involved and have a question you want me to answer, Chelsea related or otherwise, then leave it in the comments down below with the hashtag AskMono in the comment. That video should be out early next week. Right, with that out of the way, let's get back to the video. This was another great opportunity for Chelsea to score all 3 points after finally getting a run of wins against Brighton and Fulham. We went into this game expecting to win for the first time in what seemed like ages. Like most games this season for Chelsea, this game was another game of two halves, with Chelsea being slightly below par in the first but kicking into gear in the second and really taking it to the Lancashire side. I should say here, I think a lot of people, myself included, thought that the first half was much worse than it was in actuality, and watching back that first half for this breakdown really opened my eyes when it came to how I originally thought that we played. We're going to take a look at the Chelsea setup from the start of the game and show the small tweaks that Poch made in the second half to get us fully up to speed. Chelsea was set up in our 4-3-3/4-2-3-1 formation, and apart from Mykhailo Mudryk being replaced by Raheem Sterling, the team didn't change much from the Fulham game at all. The system functioned similarly, with Gallagher being the most advanced midfielder of the three, pushing up high into attacking midfield in order to be the aggressive presser that he can be. Not only that, but we once again saw him trying to interchange with Cole Palmer on the right hand side, allowing Cole to get central and try to use his great vision and passing range to create chances. We once again saw Marc Cucurella play at right back, lopsiding our team to the left hand side once more, which ended up really helping Chelsea in this one in the end, due to the man on the left hand side, Raheem Sterling, having a phenomenal game. We saw Levi Colwill on that same left hand side of the defence, as is becoming the norm, where he was much more inclined to get forward and support his winger in this one as well. I said that Chelsea were underwhelming in the first half, but right from minute 1, Sterling was really up for this game, and I'm sure that he was motivated by him being excluded from the England side once more, along with him recently losing his starting place to Mudryk and Cole Palmer. We saw immediately that he was looking to drive at the Burnley backline with direct dribbling, trying to enter the box and fashion chances for himself and his teammates. One thing that we did in the first half that was slightly different to our previous games was playing the ball into Cole Palmer in central areas from the back four, or one of the deeper midfielders if they had dropped to collect the ball. Palmer would drop a little deeper to get on the ball, then immediately spray a pass, most often to the left hand side as is natural to him, getting us up the pitch quickly and into attacking areas. We saw a few chances in the first half created by this very movement, backline to Palmer, Palmer out to Sterling or Colwill, then into the box from there. Chelsea found it hard at times to break down Burnley in this first half, and that was due to Burnley being rather good defensively in truth. They pressed high when they needed to, trying to win the ball in midfield and sometimes more advanced areas, but dropped back into a 4-5-1 of sorts at times as well, trying to prevent us from playing through the centre. This is partly why Palmer dropping into midfield gave us a boost. That extra body in the central area created another option to go to, as Enzo and Caicedo were being pressed by the Burnley midfield. Otherwise, we had to try and play it around the Burnley team out wide on the wings. And this worked for large parts of the half, with Chelsea playing the ball between their defenders and defensive midfielders, but not always able to get the ball up to the attacking trio, and especially not able to get the ball up to our striker in the middle. Broja in particular struggled to get on the ball, only getting 18 touches in his first half stint, 2 of which were kickoffs, and the rest were in wider or deep positions, not exactly where we wanted him getting the ball. We saw us passing the ball around the defence without much progression up the pitch for a large portion of the first half, but there was an interesting change that Poch employed during the first half when he was able to have a small tactical talk on the sidelines after Cucurella got booked, because there was a break in play for one of Burnley's men going down injured. And this change was subtle, not anything too extravagant, but certainly necessary. He clearly instructed Levi Colwill and Marc Cucurella to push higher up the pitch, and leave Disasi and Thiago Silva as a back two. This forced Burnley's players to cover those two fullbacks, and provided more space for the other Chelsea players more centrally. Cucurella's position was particularly interesting, as he kept interchanging with whoever was on the right hand side at the time, whether that was Palmer or Gallagher, staying wide and allowing the wide midfielder to come inside. We saw a good example of this during the latter stages of the half when Cole Palmer picked up the ball deep, almost in a right back's position, and sprayed the ball out wonderfully for Sterling to have a chance at the back post. But Cucurella was also being that inverted midfielder at times, coming inside from wide right and playing balls directly through the centre. Let's quickly take a look back at Burnley's opening goal. I don't think there is much tactical analysis to be done here on this goal because it comes from a rather poor bit of positioning / awareness from Levi Colwill. Burnley moved the ball quickly on the counter-attack, and Levi steps up to try and stop a pass and gets easily 1-2'd past. The space behind him is vacated for the Burnley fullback to run into, pick out a pass to Lyle Foster who knocks it onto Odobert at the back post, who slots it through Cucurella's legs to deceive Robert Sanchez and score the first goal of the game. We'd have to wait until right at the end of the half to see a Blues rebuttal, as once again Raheem Sterling dragged us into an attacking area with direct dribbling. His cross is deflected off of the Burnley centre-back Al Dakhil, who puts it past James Trafford into his own net, and giving Chelsea something to build off of in the second half and go and win the game. Real quick, if you're enjoying the content and want to see more, please consider subscribing to the channel. Cheers. And build off of it we did, almost immediately actually. Chelsea decided to get at Burnley early on in the second half and force them into mistakes. We've seen this same thing happen in multiple games so far this season, and I believe it's a tactical implementation from Mauricio Pochettino. Start halves fast and try and get ahead, then use the remaining time to sit back, be pragmatic and hard to beat, then play on the counter. We saw it against Brighton, we saw it against Fulham, and we saw it in both halves here against Burnley too. It's that style of play that gets us the goal to put us ahead. We push up high and win the ball back, give the ball to Sterling who goes on another mazy run into the box, baiting Vitinho into a rash challenge and winning us a penalty. Cole Palmer steps up against his England under-21 teammate and after a short delay slots it into the bottom right to beat Trafford and put the Blues up 2-1 very early on. And this is when the game plan comes into play fully. We now know that Burnley have to attack to get back into the game, so we rely on our defensive astuteness to stay ahead, whilst also setting traps in the midfield in order to win the ball back and hit Burnley on the transition after they've committed bodies forward. We see this exact thing happen for our third goal of the game. It comes from Burnley being in possession. They work it to the midfield but fall into our midfield pressing trap. Moises Caicedo excellently wins the ball back and lays the ball off to Gallagher, who slots the ball through to once again Raheem Sterling, who takes 2 touches then drills the ball into the far corner with his weaker left foot, leaving Trafford zero chance of saving it. He makes the first 2, scores the third, and all but confirms his player of the match status with a great game all around. And that wasn't his last involvement either, as he starts off the move that gives Chelsea our 4th and final goal of the game. Once again he finds himself on the ball isolated against the opposing defender, and he gets a yard ahead of him to put over a decent ball across the box. This ball falls kindly to Palmer, who sets the ball nicely to Jackson in the middle. He fakes a shot with his right, sitting the defender down and giving him room to place a left-footed shot into the bottom right corner, sealing the win for Chelsea and keeping up his momentum from scoring against Brighton the other week. That was the story of this game really. Chelsea gained another 3 points, and now we move on to Arsenal after the international break, where we will have a chance to really solidify ourselves as top contenders. The match preview for that will likely be out on Friday evening around 7 PM the day before the game, so keep an eye out for that one. And finally, before we end the video, it's time for the question of the day. As always, I'm going to highlight some of the comments from the last video, so here are a few responses to the last question of the day. Thanks guys for your continued support as ever. If you want your comment to be featured in the next video, leave your answer to this video's question of the day down below with QOTD at the start. So for this week's question of the day, we'll go for another fun one. In light of his recent retirement, what was your favourite Eden Hazard moment in a Chelsea shirt? But that was just my tactical breakdown for this match. Thank you ever so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on this match in the comment section below, and if you'd be so kind, subscribe to the channel and leave the video a like if you enjoyed. Don't forget to tap the notification bell so you never miss a video from me, or check out some of the other videos on the channel on screen right now. I've been Mono from Mono CFC, and remember, in the rain or in the dry, Keep that blue flag flying high. Come on, you Blues.